A gym card, a Snap Fitness gym card, is thicker than the watch you just launched.
How are you? Oh, I lost
good.
something which is also thicker. Half a franc Swiss coin.
The half a franc Swiss coin is thicker than the movement of the Bulgari Finissimo Ultra COSC. I had to think a little bit about that name. This little visual prop to begin this story is something that brings home the absolute madness, the frankly sort of inconceivable madness of this watch. It is how many grams? 42 grams?
42 grams. It's ultra lightweight.
Yes.
Ultra thin, of course, world record. That's the 9th world record for Octo Finissimo in just 10 years. So it's a good anniversary.
It's a weird way to start an interview, but we have to show with physical things the madness, the levels that we have reached with this achievement. By the way, this is the CEO of Bulgari, Mr. Jean-Christophe Babin.
Good afternoon, welcome to Geneva.
We stand in the most picturesque location you could imagine. We are looking out over Lake Geneva. How did you describe the water just now?
Well, like in the Caribbean, it's just turquoise blue. In the background, you have the snow-capped Monte Bianco, White Mountain, which is the highest summit of the Alps. It's like, being at the Caribbean, but in the Himalaya at the same time.
We are living the Swiss dream, and I'm living one of my favorite parts of what we do at Time+Tide, which is when the Ultra was launched in Rome. I walked on the Spanish steps with Fabrizio, and we launched that watch to the world, and it seemed like that chapter was closed.
But it was a beginning.
You are like a fighter, and you knock out the competition, and then off the canvas comes Richard Mille. But then this 1.8 millimeters gets gazumped by Richard Mille with a credit card looking watch. It was an unusual looking watch. I frankly found the aesthetics a little challenging, not just to flatter you. But this goes 1.75 millimeters. So we have the contender gets off, hits you back. Bulgari is down for a little while, and then you come back with this. So tell me, why did you bother to hit your competitor back with this one?
Well, I think the first thing is that obviously we were very admirative of Richard for getting to the 1.75 because we know how difficult it is to get that thin.
Because every millimeter is every
tenth of a
millimeter is a game changer at this point.
Well, the thinner you get, the more exponential is the extra complexity.
Yes.
So when we're at 5 millimeter, gaining 0.1 was much easier than when you start from 1.8 to go to 1.7.
Yes.
And so if one day we go to 1.5 or 1.6, it will be exponentially much more difficult again.
Yeah.
So we welcome Richard Mille on the one hand because, the more ultra-thin watches on the market, the more relevant is it to clients who tend to appreciate those watches not only as exceptional watches, but probably also as a new category of daily watches.
That's exactly right, because if someone competes with you in the space that you're in, it adds value to the achievement. So were you genuinely happy when they beat you?
Yeah, of course, and also because what Richard developed was quite developed from what we did. Not only the aesthetics, but also, the way to set up the time to rewind, which is requiring a special tooling. Ours, conversely, is self-standing. You have two patented horizontal crowns, which allow you to recharge the watch and or to reset the time. So the conception was quite different. But you're right that in thickness they were very close, and Richard was even better than what we were. At the same time, you have another competitor like Piaget, also developing.
They're back in the game as well.
And some of the big names like Patek doing slim watches. So since Octo Finissimo started the game in 10 years ago exactly, gradually the major brand have realized that it was not a niche, but probably a strong market. Why? Because a slim watch means an elegant watch, especially when it's contemporary. But our point when we discovered Richard watch was to keep developing the Ultra, already a work in process. Not so much to get it thinner, but to get the COSC, because we believe that to turn that category into a really mainstream category, despite the very high prices, it's crucial to be COSC certified, meaning by that to provide the clients with the absolute certainty that it's reliable, it's accurate, it's resistant to thermical variations, to shock, and so forth. So the COSC is the ultimate seal of quality and of daily
and
usage.
robustness, yeah. And I have to tell this story again. I meet Jean-Christophe Babin, I think it's in Shanghai.
Yeah.
And we talk about the Tourbillon, the Ultra Finissimo Tourbillon model that was launched at the time. And you open your phone and say, look, I did a Tourbillon diaries when I went trekking. And you went hiking in the woods, in the mountains with the Tourbillon on, and you
Of
had
course.
in all these pictures. And then you said, and then you grabbed it and you said, this watch is made to be worn and made to be tough. And you threw this on the ground.
I even made, a 1 month trekking in Tibet.
Yes, so it's always been a mission of yours, but we've never gone to this level of cost. Now, what challenges did that present to be compliant? Because there's a lot of requirements.
Well, this means that to be cost compliant, you have obviously
accuracy,
to be within
range.
a very narrow range in accuracy, but not only, in thermical resistance. So what we had was to re-challenge each and every single component, to modify some, to craft some others, to the micron.
Can you give me an example of something you had to change from the old model to the new?
Well, first, a few components have been eliminated because one of the secrets of a slim watch is to dare to go with fewer components because you need fewer components, but at the same time, the paradox is you need the accuracy of the COSC. But fewer components are mandatory if you want to be ultra thin, because otherwise it doesn't fit in. So we reduced further, first point. Secondly, we selected the components with criteria which meant that we had to rework some to the micron, which is something you can do only with a microscope, and also to reject many which were not allowing to get to the preferences. So it has been really a strong rework, and doing so, we realized that we were getting closer and closer to 1.7. So we decided, okay, let's go COSC, but let's not miss the opportunity to combine the COSC with the regaining of the record, because at the end of the day, it was not the initial goal was the COSC, but through the COSC, we went slimmer without even realizing initially.
Yeah.
And when we realized it, we said, okay, let's go the extra mile and let's go to 170.
So do you think Richard's going to come back at you?
Well, this is the beauty of watchmaking. If there's no innovation in any category, the market doesn't grow and doesn't develop. We are selling dreams.
Yeah.
And innovation, crazy watches, as you were mentioning this one, which was absolutely craziness, are very much contributing, to the dream, which eventually leads you to a watch retailer, to a Bulgari boutique, to buy something that you never considered before, and which is so overwhelming and mind-blowing that eventually you go yourself the extra mile with your credit card, the one you showed before, and you buy it because
Can't buy it with this. It's a gym card.
But you usually have something from a bank which can work, and therefore our mission is to create dreams.
Yes.
And this means that yes, there is competition to always be the best in performance, in aesthetics. That's what we do in jewelry. Jewelry, it's an ongoing competition with our main competitors to bring every year the most wow pieces we can even imagine.
I want to tell a little story about Roger Federer and Rafael Nadal and their friendship and their competition. I interviewed Roger Federer and said, do you think your career would have been different if you hadn't unfortunately had Nadal to compete with? Like, how many more titles would you have? And he said, I would have less titles.
For sure.
Because
you have to surpass yourself. You have to surpass yourself.
It forces you to surpass yourself. So having said that, when you find out Piaget has beaten you again, is there an emergency meeting in the boardroom to say we need to get back the title?
Piaget?
But Piaget has released a new model that is thinner than it's now the world's thinnest watch.
No, it's a thin tourbillon. So as the thinnest watch, this is the thinnest watch.
Okay, this is the thinnest watch.
1.7.
Right.
Piaget has released, if I'm correct, 2mm tourbillon watch.
Who holds the current title for the thinnest tourbillon? Before that? Was it
we did.
You did. So they have taken a title.
Yeah, but this we can retake in 6 months. Really. Because this is such...
I thought I had my facts wrong there, but you're just not even worried about it.
No, why? Because this is such an incredible platform at 1.7 that it takes little,
Love the honesty.
to have a turbo inside.
Okay. Are you going to do it?
No problem.
Are you going to take it back?
Yeah, probably.
When Richard... Okay, let's go back to that moment then, because that was a little more distressing. What was the mood in Neuchâtel that day? Were you in Neuchâtel that day? Or
we were on the one hand happy because it was one more justification to that category. Where we were a bit skeptical were on two dimensions. First, the tooling necessary to adjust it, because we know that clients, even for very sophisticated watches, they like simplicity. It has to be easy to use,
you look at
user-friendly.
the Universal, it's got to become more, the AP Universal is basically something that is meant to be operatable without a manual. Like they want,
Exactly.
This is absolutely right. We're getting to a world where complicated watches need to be simple to operate.
So the first question mark we had was, it's a bit thinner, but it's not as user-friendly.
It's not apples to apples, really.
Exactly. And the second point, which we were also a bit surprised, was the price, which we considered as very, very bold.
What was the comparison?
The price was 3 times our price. But you know that Richard is connected with a sports car manufacturer, and the watch getting along with the car was costing 3 times the car. And here we started to wonder, will they sell it? And only Richard has the answer, because I have no idea.
I'm sure you could give him a call. He wouldn't tell you the truth, I'm sure. So this is all about dreams, though, isn't it? It's about magic. It's about things that are hard to even, conceive with your mind. But I wonder, is there a limit to how thin a watch can get before it just becomes? Do we just finish?
No, the limit is really when you get to a thickness which makes it not a commercial watch any longer, but more a concept watch. That is a watch which works with a heartbeat, which provides times more or less accurately, but provides some more time, but not a watch that, if your name is Bulgari, you can reasonably sell commercially, because it would be unfair to the client. And so this is a niche where we don't want to go. If we go to 1.4 but realize that it loses 1 minute per day, an example, if it falls 1 meter, it breaks immediately, we will never do it, because we do it only if it can become a wearable watch, reliable, accurate, which ideally, and this is true not only for that, but also our chiming watch, which are costing close to 1 million, are designed to be worn daily. So our utmost obsession is not so much to do ground complication for the sake of ground complication, is to offer true watch lovers extraordinary watches which they can enjoy not in their vault or watch window, but on their wrist.
Beautiful. Well, that is the perfect note to finish on. That was a very entertaining interview, Jean-Christophe. Thank you very much.
Thank you. A pleasure as usual.
And we finish on this note of, once again, just try to conceive of this. This is thinner than my Snap Fitness gym card.
And the 50 cents Swiss coin.
Okay. See you in the next video.